So, Gaurav sir, should we start?
Sure, thank you. Savita, are you there? Savita Mukherjee. Akshat, can you please check it out now with Savita? Then you start because she will be moderating.
I'm here.
Hi Savita, please start here.
Okay. Yeah, we have started the recording already.
No, Savita from our side as well. I think there are two Savita.
Okay. Okay.
And namaste to all the attendees for the event. On behalf of Smart Innovation Norway, and Indian Biogas Association, I welcome you all to the webinar Opportunities in the Bioenergy Market in India. Understand, strategize, and subsequently
Can't hear you.
Savita, we can't hear you.
Pretty much
Your
noise
voice
in the
is not
background.
Actually, I would like to request everyone to kindly keep yourself on mute for the smooth functioning of the event. I think that is why the voice is not audible. Yeah, I think this is fine. Okay. The aim of this webinar is to present the Norwegian companies with an opportunity to understand, strategize, and subsequently enter the fast-growing bioenergy market in India. This is one of the innovative events being brought to you in the furtherance to the webinar series being organized by IBA on the principle of coordination, communication, and solution. I hope that the 2-hour webinar shall be highly informative and engaging to all the participants from India and Norway. I would again request everyone to kindly keep yourself on mute other than the speakers for the smooth functioning of the event. And also this is to inform everyone that this session is being recorded. So without much ado, let's get going and straight away hear it from the experts addressing today's webinar. So first of all, I would like to call upon Mr. Christian Valdez Carter, Country Director, Innovation, Norway, India. To quickly introduce Mr. Carter, he holds a master's degree in law from the University of Bergen. He is the Director of Innovation, Norway's operations in India and Commercial Counselor at the Royal Norwegian Embassy in New Delhi. He has held various leadership roles and board positions in both privately held companies and public-private partnerships and comes with broad experience from the Norwegian business community. His career expands over several industries, including fisheries, smart cities, tourism, transport, communication, port developments, offshore energy, and subsea. Sir, we are eagerly waiting to hear from you.
Thank you, Ms. Boral, for the very kind introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, hope you all are doing well. Good morning and good afternoon. On behalf of Innovation Norway, Smart Innovation Norway, and the Indian Biogas Association, a very warm welcome to this conclave on opportunities in bioenergy in India. India is one of the largest consumers of biogas in the world, and we are happy to learn that the Indian government is also investing heavily in bioenergy as a sustainable fuel for the future. We very much look forward to learn more about the policy framework as well as needs and problem statements of the industry, so as to explore potential for collaboration between India and Norway in this space. Norway and India, or Norway and Norwegian businesses has great potential for the production of bioenergy through our abundant forests, our agriculture industry, and also, not least, through our technology and business models. And the Indian biogas market can be a stepping stone for Norwegian companies. We at Innovation Norway would be very happy to play our role in identifying synergies between Norwegian and Indian companies, as well as to facilitate pilots that can demonstrate Norwegian capabilities. We, as Innovation Norway, offer a set of tools, both financial and advisory, to Norwegian companies in their scaling process, and can be very much a value-added sparring partner in the international markets. I and my team are here today to discuss your goals and strategies towards the Indian market. So do reach out to us, and we will be happy to speak with you. Today, we will showcase the current biogas scenario in India and available policy support from the Indian government, and I welcome the suggestions and inputs provided by the invited stakeholders. All of us together can build and scale a collaborative ecosystem that can immensely benefit the industry and our countries. So with that, I wish you all good luck with the event. Thank you for the time, and I really look forward to hear the proceedings. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir. Now we have Mr. Gaurav Kedia. Mr. Kedia is the chairman of Indian Biogas Association and is also a guest faculty at Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, the Apex Business School of India. He is a serial entrepreneur and an innovator with 18 plus years of working experience in energy and advanced process control domain, including artificial intelligence and machine learning. He is also the member of several committees and working groups active in renewable energy field from the Government of India. Sir?
Thank you. Thanks a lot for your introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, namaste everyone. I would like to welcome the delegates from Smart Innovation Norway. Thank you. Thanks for putting on mute. Can you put yourself on mute? That will be really helpful for everyone. So once again, I would like to welcome the delegates.
आमचं कॉन्ट्रॅक्टरचं झालंय उद्यापर्यंत ते आमचं वर्क ऑर्डर येईल ते बॅरिक कसं आहे त्यांचं बॅरिकेशन झाल्यावर
All of you, please keep yourself on mute for the smooth functioning of this event. Thank you.
Thank you. So once again, namaste, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome the delegates from Smart Innovation Norway, IBA, IOCL, and different corporates. Thanks for making it happen. We are here to not only talk about but about the bioenergy domain, but also to chalk out the roadmap, especially to create a sustainable and renewable waste, energy and fertilizer nexus. Hope we all agree that the world needs to find its balance, especially in terms of, let's say, climate change, and all the stakeholders, not only just the government, needs to be quite active in this field. I mean, it's almost 5 years. Almost 5 years, after countries pledged to limit global temperature rise to 2 degrees centigrade and strive for a safer 1.5 degree target. The planet is on a trajectory, if you really see, to almost 3.6 degrees warming based on a tally of the 183 nationally determined contributions that is normally known as NDCs, submitted to date from the signatories to the Paris Agreement. India, being an important country adhering to Paris Agreement, is emphasizing to meet its commitment, biogas being one of the significant vertical for it. There is a tremendous potential for biogas to be a significant building block in the climate and energy plans for a country like India. The present tough time is showing that it is better to be a part of nature instead of being apart from it. Burning fossils and waiting for the next generation to tackle the problem is not an option at all. We have to start sustainable transformation. If you see historically, we shifted from animal carts, which are replaced by cars, kerosene lamps are replaced by bulb, and eventually LEDs coming into picture now. All this happened as some gap existed and technology could bridge it. The same we envisage to do with the biogas technology. The potential is there, but the $1 million question is how to harness that. I believe it is one of the important reasons why we have all gathered over here. And biogas is not just a biogas. It is a card for turning greenhouse gas into energy, card to handle almost, I would say, 100 billion tons of organic waste generated in the world every year, card to ensure that the methane from the landfills are not blasted into atmosphere, card for carbonized economy, card for ensuring the decentralized energy is a sustainable option, card for ensuring the gender parity by giving the energy access in remote area and whatnot as such. UN Sustainable Development Goals, especially that of, let's say, number 2, that is zero hunger, number 3, that is good health and well-being, number 5, that is gender equality, number 6, clean water and sanitation, number 7, affordable and clean energy, number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, number 11, sustainable cities and communities, number 13, climate action, number 15, life on land, can definitely be met by biogas. So once again, biogas is not just a simple energy or renewable energy. This has got a lot to do with a lot of other things, especially we can put it in SDGs terms. So basically, if you have technically, financially and socially feasible biogas project, then that's it. And that's the need of the hour. Coming to India's present scenario of biogas, we already have the subsidy scheme from the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy in place, offtake agreement of bio-CNG from Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas through sustainable alternative towards affordable transportation, that is normally known as SATAT scheme, is in place. Recently, even the liquid fermented organic manure got its recognition from Fertilizer Corporation. And the ecosystem is now getting established, and which will be a win-win situation for everyone. So in a manner, just to sum it up in a few sentences, so biogas production is not only good for the planet, but also for our economy and social development. And today we'll see how we really can analyze that and how we really can achieve that. And today also we would like to explore how to really make this biogas happen in India. Thanks to Smart Innovation Norway and Innovation Norway once again for being active to push the idea. I hope the participants will be able to get the real feel about the biogas in India and not only the knowledge. And once again, thanks and happy digesting. Over to you, Saria.
Thank you, Gaurav, for those insightful words. Next, we have Mr. Abhijit Mukherjee, Project Head, who will be talking on present policies support in India. Mr. Mukherjee is a graduate in chemical engineering and is working in the capacity of program head at Indian Biogas Association. He is presently heading the Indo-German Biogas Partnership Program and has over 16 years of working experience in process industries, mainly focused on oil and gas, wastewater management and renewable energy. Specifically, he has over 6 years of work experience in biogas generation from a variety of biomass and its effective end usage. Previously, he has worked in
Savita, we are losing you. I think it's better if you switch off the video. Perhaps that will be better. We were losing you.
Okay. Okay. Is it fine now?
Yeah. You might need to repeat her.
Yes. Next, we have Mr. Abhijit Mukherjee, Project Head, who will be talking on present policies support in India. Mr. Mukherjee is a graduate in chemical engineering and is working in the capacity of program head at Indian Biogas Association. He is presently heading the Indian-German Biogas Partnership Program and has over 16 years of work experience in process industry, mainly focused on oil and gas, wastewater management, and renewable energy. Specifically, he has over 6 years of work experience in biogas generation from a variety of biomass and its effective end usage. Previously, he has worked with organizations like Immersion Electric, GAIL India Limited, and Dr. Reddy's Lab Limited. Abhijit, over to you.
Hi, thanks, Savita. Good afternoon, everyone in India, and good morning, everyone back in Norway. So my name is Abhijit, and thanks, Savita, for the grand introduction there. So basically, I'll be speaking on the policies with respect to Indian perspective. So I wanted to give an impromptu presentation, but then it's always nice if we can have some slides around it so that you can recall as and when you want to collect a few of the points. So I will just take some time to upload my slide here. Just a moment. So I hope my slide is visible.
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. Right, so I will quickly switch off my video as well because there are some disturbances happening. So I will quickly switch off my video. Yeah, that's there. Right. So yeah, so that's going to be the agenda, and I've got just 15 minutes to speak on it. So I will quickly run through my slides, and maybe I can take a few questions at the back end of this webinar. So my presentation will be focusing on the biogas and the bio-CNG industry, which is a primary fuel in the bioenergy mix. Right. So just to begin with, I would like to share a few of the macro initiatives which are in place and which makes the business scenario in India ever more lucrative. So here are listed some of the macro policies. And of course, when I say that it makes a business scenario lucrative, I'm discounting the current pandemic situation because right now things have slowed down a bit. But then hopefully in the long run, all of these policies which are in place will have a rub off onto the renewable sector. So beginning with, we have the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, in translated into English, it's the self-reliant India, so which gives a big thrust to the Indian manufacturing sector. And from the foreign perspective, any FDI that comes into India gets an auto approval. So this Swachh Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is a big thrust in that way, and it's expected to kind of increase the say of manufacturing sector in India. And then we have the Clean Bharat, Swachh Bharat mission, translated in English as the Clean India. It's a very popular campaign under the honorable leadership of our Prime Minister. So we have a lot of scientific waste treatment coming under this Swachh Bharat mission or Clean India campaign. A lot of urban local bodies or the municipal corporations are now kind of looking into the scientific waste treatment as their primary motto under the Swachh Bharat mission. So this is going to give a good drive to the waste to energy projects and hence the bioenergy projects in India. Again, the smart city initiative, we have around 100 of smart cities which are being planned to build with adequate infrastructure, and of course scientific waste management being a part of it, and hence it's also supposed to give the required drive to the renewables, particularly from the bioenergy or waste to energy segment in the renewables. Then we have the biofuel policy. It's a policy coming from the Ministry of Petroleum, and which gives a huge thrust and promotion for the liquid and the gaseous biofuels. And of course, one of the initiatives that we'll be talking about today is about the SATAT, sustainable affordable alternative means for affordable transportation. So this is a scheme which has given thrust to the compressed biogas industry in India. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then Gaurav already mentioned about the nationally determined contribution, which India has voluntarily committed at a global level. And as for that, we are going to ramp up our renewable section or component in the overall energy mix. So we are planning around 175 gigawatts of power capacity through renewables. By 2022, I think pandemic has kind of lingered this a little bit, but then yeah, we are on the way there. And then we have emission reduction targets by around 35% over the 2005 base level. So that is going to increase the demand for clean energies. And of course, we have a reduction target in the oil imports as well. We want to reduce the oil imports by 10% by 2022, going at 2014-15 levels. So these are some of the macro initiatives which are going to give the needful trust. It's always good to understand this. And then maybe even before I go into the compressed biogas thing, I would like to give you a hang about how the installation base of this compressed biogas or biogas plants have been in India. So we see in this particular matrix, we have at the left-hand side few of the plant types listed as per the scale. So we have small, medium, and large plants, and we have the definition of each of these plants, right? 1 to 25 meter cube per day falls in the small segment, and likewise the medium one, it's in the electricity equivalent, 3 kilowatt to 250 kilowatt capacity. And then 250 kilowatt electric equivalent or more falls under the large biogas plant. So this definition actually comes from the way ministry recognizes this project. So Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, under its various subsidy schemes that it has come up with, we'll be seeing a little bit about the subsidies. So they give the recognition in line to these definitions across the various scale of biogas plants. So once we have understood the type of or the scales of biogas plant that you can kind of see in India, let's look into some of the policy or specific policies with respect to the biogas or compressed biogas sector in India. So beginning with the indirect taxation rate, we call it the goods and service tax. All around 5%.
May I
Hello?
ask you, are we supposed to see any slides? We only see the first slide.
Okay, is it that with everybody else? I'm right now at the policy support slide.
No, it's fine. I mean, I can see the current slide.
I can see also
Fine.
So maybe whosoever specifically is having a problem, maybe kind of you can refresh your screen a bit. So that might help. Logging in, logging out, logging in, I don't know. So I will continue in that case. Yeah, so we have an indirect taxation rate for biogas production or producers from the biogas plant, and also for any inputs going into the biogas project, like any equipment which is procured for the biogas project. We have a concessional GST indirect taxes rate of around 5%. And then we also have for imported equipment, we have a basic custom duty of around 5%. So that kind of eases off the capex that goes into the project. And then we have an accelerated depreciation on written down value method. So that helps the initial tax outgo from a biogas project. So we have, you can depreciate your asset at a faster rate in the beginning years. So that decreases your tax outgo in the initial years. And then we have the tax holidays for the first 5 years of the operation of a biogas plant. So complete zero taxation for a standalone biogas project. So that also comes in handy. We have a devised feed-in tariff for electricity-based projects. So where electricity is the final output, electricity tariff of around 7.85 rupees, I believe it will translate into almost 10 euro cents per unit of electricity, which is devised by the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, again a central body under the Ministry of Power. So this guidelines has been is there for electricity as the end usage. And we have the various subsidy schemes, as you can see at the bottom of the slide. We have the various scale of the biogas plant, as I had shown you in the previous slide. So we have various subsidy schemes as per the scale of the biogas plant. So we'll have a look into the subsidy scheme later. But then let's continue with the other policies that we have in place. We have various other policies coming in form of the SATAT scheme from the Ministry of Petroleum. So under the biofuel policy, they are particularly giving a drive for the compressed biogas under the scheme, that is the sustainable alternative towards affordable transportation, wherein the public sector units or the oil marketing companies in which the government has got some undertaking, they are government-owned companies basically. So they are coming up and saying that, hey, if you produce biogas, compressed biogas within the specified norms, I take the guaranteed offtake from you for the next 10 years, and there's upward price revision every 3 years that they are considering. So these are some of the drivers which are kind of creating more interest in the market. More players are going with this kind of assured offtake agreement coming from the oil marketing companies. Electricity policy, we already spoke about it, about the tariff, defined tariff, but then we have something called the renewable purchase obligation. So any renewable based, energy based power production needs to be mandatorily procured by the electricity distribution companies. So something like renewable purchase obligation is there. But I think we are more interested towards usage of compressed biogas as fuel for transport. So let's look into the next policy in terms of the motor vehicle rules. So there are provisions for usage of the compressed biogas in the motor vehicles under the Motor Vehicles Act. And we have the standards for biomethane. I have written the biogas standards, but it's basically the biomethane, the enriched biogas, which needs to be meeting certain specifications, certain compositions. Limits has been set under this BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, is the body which devises the standards, and a specification has been crafted for the biomethane. So any biomethane being used for the vehicular purpose or needs to kind of follow the specifications from BIS. We have the fertilizer control order coming from the Ministry of Agriculture. So fertilizer is an essential commodity in India. So if you wish to use any form of fertilizer, it needs to be registered properly with the corresponding department. This fertilizer control order kind of right now it specifies the liquid and the solid, both fractions are being recognized in the fertilizer control order. The liquid one just came few weeks back. In fact, just last week they had this notification which now recognizes the liquid fraction as well, but solid fraction was recognized earlier as well. So that's a big drive which will kind of increase the revenues of any setup biogas projects. And then of course we have the institutional bodies to take care of the implementation of the projects at state level. So we have the state nodal agencies who take care of monitoring of the projects which are getting installed, and the subsidy scheme that is coming from the center. So the state nodal agencies kind of take care of that. So I believe I'm still running out of time, so I will quickly try to take this up. So one of the important scheme that kind of binds all of this is the subsidy scheme that is coming up from the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So over here you can see the various subsidies are listed. From left to right of the screen, we have the different scale of biogas plant, but I think you'll be more interested in the centralized installations, right? The bigger plants, and which is being showcased by the right end of this matrix or table. So any bio-CNG that gets produced or any project on bio-CNG from any of the waste type, so it be the urban waste or the agro waste or the industrial waste or a mix of these, so they are entitled for a subsidy of around 40 million Indian rupees per megawatt of installation. So if I have to translate this into euros, it would be approximately, I believe, half a million euros for per project, and the limit is around 100 million per project, again in Indian rupees. So all these reported figures are in Indian rupees. I know that for our Norwegian attendees it will be a bit difficult, but then yeah, we can use the conversion rate of 80, almost around 85 rupees per euro. So that's for the CBG project. And then if there is some CBG project which is already there in place, and if some biogas producing plant is already there, and if you want to set up the upgradation facility to it and produce biomethane, then you are entitled for 30 million Indian rupees per megawatt capacity. So these are the kind of subsidy that comes from the central Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and these are all kind of back-end subsidy. So once the plant is up and running and you show them that the plant has been running at a certain efficiency, at certain operational efficiency, definitely this subsidy then gets sanctioned. So that's something on the subsidy, right? So I believe I've already overshot my time, but then this slide is also very important, which shows you the wave of involvement of the different ministries in the Indian ecosystem, Indian biogas ecosystem. So we have the different usage of biogas, you can see in this matrix, in form of thermal, electric, transport, and of course organic manure being one of the byproducts. And different ministries have got a role. I think these are the major ministries which has got some policies. So these policies corresponding to a given ministry is being listed here. So all of these ministries, as per their involvement in the different usage of biogas and the byproduct, is kind of mentioned here. And we see the kind of policies which kind of mandates or plays a role in guiding this in the biogas ecosystem. So we have the fertilizer control order coming from the Ministry of Agriculture. Of course, it sets the guideline for any organic fertilizer, and of course then Department of Fertilizer, that's a separate ministry. They look into the implementation of this fertilizer control order. So any manufacturing, selling, and distribution of fertilizer is kind of looked upon by Ministry of Chemical Fertilizers under the ambit of this fertilizer control order. Likewise, we have the BIS standards coming from the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. We talked about that in the previous slide, wherein the specifications of biomethane has been mentioned, and any vehicular use or any usage of biomethane has to meet these standards to qualify for end usage. And then likewise, the Ministry of Urban Development kind of dictates the Swachh Bharat Mission and the municipal solid waste handling rules. And we have the electricity policy from the Ministry of Power, biofuel policy of Ministry of Petroleum. We already discussed about that. So and there are a few other ministries as well which are playing a role, not that major as listed over here in the rows, but Ministry of Rural Development and Ministry of Small and Micro Enterprises, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Ministry of Finance, and the bodies under it. They also play a crucial role in this wave of involvement of the ministries. So I believe that gives you some hang about how the kind of the situation is in terms of the policies with respect to the compressed biogas industry. And this, I will leave you out there, and I will be happy to take questions, if any, at the end of this webinar or maybe in between. Thanks for the patient hearing.
Thank you, Abhijit, for the detailed description of the policies. Now, I would request Dr. A.R. Shukla to brief us about biogas in India. Dr. Shukla is the President, Indian Biogas Association. He retired as advisor, Bioenergy from the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy after working for about 29 years. Overall, he has about 42 years of experience in policy planning and developing R&D projects on renewable energies at the national level, devising dissemination of programs along with its implementations, development of standards, and involvement in country-wide monitoring focused at reaching the last mile. Over to you, sir.
Dr. Shukla, you are on mute. You are on mute, sir.
Good afternoon, all the Indian participants, and good morning to all the participants from Norway. This is a very good opportunity for both the sides, the Norway side and the Indian side, and the opportunity which has been put across to see that how the two countries and how the companies in the two countries can come together in the biogas sector. This is the good opportunity, and Abhijit and Gaurav has already mentioned what can be done and about the policies. Abhijit has given most of the things in the policies which the government of India is doing, and of course the involvement of state government nodal agencies who are also in the pipeline once you are going to put up the project. So I'm going to give you glimpses of again a few new slides and few mixed ones, because the presentations are such that it covers the entire biogas sector in India. So are you able to see my screen? Hello?
Not yet, sir. Not yet.
No, sir, not yet.
अभी आ रहा है sir.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir. But
sir. Yes,
हाँ,
sir. Yes. Sir.
presentation mode में कर लीजिए. Right, sir.
Okay. Very good. So now biogas in India, it's a country where biogas started long back. And we have opportunities, we have taken actions for utilizing various types of applications which the biogas can be used for. Be it family size biogas plants for cooking applications, be it for electricity generation, and be it for transport sector as the bio-CNG, piped natural gas we have, and similarly the piped gas at the small level in the villages. We have already tried and it is working in some villages in India. And now we are trying to put bio-CNG in the CGD, city gas distribution system, and maybe ultimately to village gas distribution system. So that is how we are able to now go any applications we can install plants, we can use them, and also we can share our experiences with other countries. Now, history of biogas development in India, just a glimpses of that. We started as early as 1859, when the first plant was put up in Mumbai, Bombay at that point of time. And today, ultimately, we have the so many schemes. We have come through Ministry of Renewable Energy, the pioneer ministry, and the nodal ministry for the biogas and bio-CNG development in India. So many other ministries are also involved, which Abhijit has already mentioned. And ultimately, the biogas standards, which are very much required for any commercial applications. So that I got it developed in 2013. And it was brought out and it was modified in 2016 so that we are able to take care of the pipe distribution component of it and the transport applications. So everything is in place. Few of the problems and some solutions are there once we want to go for larger installations in India. So that will be coming out of my presentations. So as I mentioned, all types of plants, domestic biogas plants, the covered biogas plants, and the garage type of biogas plants, all these technologies have been in one form or the other, CSTR and the bio-CNG have been utilized in India. The bio-CNG, of course, we call it compressed biogas in India now under the SATAT scheme. This was started in 2008 when in the Ministry of Renewable Energy, I was looking after the biogas program, and I thought that unless the biogas is purified and made available for other applications, and it competes with the petroleum fuels like petrol and gas, it won't be able to find its place in the commercial domain. And for that, we have started since 2008, and up till now we have the bio-CNG program full-fledged. Even the Ministry of Renewable Energy is providing support for that, for the installation of that. And the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, their oil marketing companies, are purchasing the bio-CNG for transport and other applications. Different technologies, of course, in the technology segment, my other colleague is going to talk about it. So the modified PSA technology, the small pressure, the minor pressure swing absorption principle. When I started, it was the pressure swing absorption, and the higher pressure was required. And one of the companies in India, they have developed the this minor pressure swing absorption, where the pressure requirement is reduced. So that is how this is the modified version, and the methane losses are also lower in this case. Standards, which I already mentioned. So 2013 it was brought first, and 2016 it was modified. It is in place and it is in use. Biogas plants across segments in India that Abhijit has already mentioned. How many plants we have installed in the country for different segments, be it biogas family size or the large size or medium size biogas plants, including the industrial applications. So those are already in place, and at different levels the plants are in operation. The power grid connected and also the off grid, the two programs are there in the country, and the support level is available. The 250 kilowatt we started, and now the decentralized plants can be installed even at the village level, not the smaller level. Higher plants, the bigger size plants are installed where the waste availability is higher. Because ultimately the biogas plants can be installed only when the waste is available. It's not like solar and wind. Now there are different challenges, and challenges are very difficult in this sector. Of course, we have to find market, we have to operate the plant, we have to have finances and the regulations. So regulations part, most of the things are taken care of, except in regulation, the purchase policy for the bio-CNG, that still needs to be strengthened. And the crux of the problem in the biogas sector in India are the finances. If the finances can be organized, then problems are taken care of to a large extent. The only difficulty then will remain is the operation where the feedstock is to be collected from decentralized sources. I must underline the decentralized sources. Therefore, the collection itself has a cost. And that is how, even if the biomass feedstock is free, but it is not free, because you have to collect it, you have to transport it, and ultimately you have to process it depending on the waste type. So therefore, the first difficulty which needs to be surmounted is the finance, and second is the feedstock availability, which is to be ensured for the life of the plants of 20 years or so. Different type of biomass wastes are available, like any country where the climate like ours, we have the cattle dung, we have the agricultural waste, we have got the sugar mill and the distillery and food processing industry waste. All those things are available. The municipal solid waste and liquid waste, they are also available. Waste are available from the vegetable market, what I mentioned, that in contrast to some other countries like Germany, where they have done a good work and they are pioneering in the large size biogas plants. But the difference between the Germany and India is that here the wastes are highly distributed in their availability. Now, the other thing which we need to consider, that once we are going for the biogas, then we have to see the bioenergy as such in totality. Generally, people think of only biogas, or some people will think of only biogas solid fuels, so the biomass solid fuels, where they are going to burn it and produce energy and power. But ultimately, the biomass resource remain the same. If it is the bioliquid fuel and the biogaseous fuel, and to some extent, if the agro waste is being used for the solid fuel generation, briquettes or pellets from the agro waste, then that is also a competitor for the biogas sector. So therefore, these three components, the gaseous fuel sector, the liquid fuel sector, and the solid fuel sector, they are having the competition among each other, and therefore, if the policies are not proper, then what will happen, that the plants will be installed, but the fuel availability will not be there. And we have faced that problem in the biomass gasifier program, where the biomass gasifiers were installed for power generation at decentralized level. The biomass fuel was not available. So therefore, the policy level, which from Indian Biogas Association, we have been flying to the government all the time, so we continue to push in that a level playing field between these three options and being handled by different ministries or in the same ministry somewhere. So that is to be properly done. If it is not done, then the one sector is going to suffer, and the sector which is going to suffer most is the biogas sector. because the investments for the bioliquid fuels are available from outside, and they are interested. And the solid fuel also is very simple because you can bring everything and burn it. And once you burn it, then instantaneously the calorific value or the heat value available or the energy value available is more as compared to biogas, where you are getting two components. One is the energy in the gaseous form, another is the organic fertilizer, for which there is no substitute. So any country which is cautious about the well-being of the overall agricultural growth and overall sustainability of agriculture, and also of course the energy supply, will certainly have a policy which will give the adequate have adequate balance for the biogas as well as the organic fertilizer. Organic fertilizer is very, very critical. The chemical fertilizers will work only when the organic fertilizers are there in the soil. If they are not, then the chemical fertilizer alone are not enough. So that is another thing. Now, as I mentioned, the biomass-based feedstock is a common denominator for all these. So therefore, being the limited availability, not like wind and solar, where the sun is going to shine and the wind is going to blow, whether you harness or not, you have to have land where you have to cultivate, or if the waste is generated, it has been cultivated somewhere, then only the biomass waste has been generated. So therefore, this is a requirement. The land requirement is there. The production requirement is there. It is not free. And if you are going to harness the forest to a large extent for having the biomass power and energy generation, then you are going to lose your forest power. And therefore, the integrated policy on biofuels is a must. And all the companies who are going to go for it, there is a balance between the three. And maybe I would suggest that the companies from Norway who are interested, they should all the three options of the biomass-based fuel and energy organic fertilizer, so that it becomes cost economical. Instead of looking only for biogas, or looking for only biomass solid. So therefore, as I mentioned, these are the constraints, and because the biomass is to service the food sector, water sector, fertilizer sector, and the fuel sector, and therefore the appropriate policies and also the companies who are going to go for it, they cannot think that they are going to have a land and where they are going to have the energy crops and ultimately they are going to run biogas farms. No. At least for the country like India, this balance is to always be important and it will be kept in mind. So therefore, as I mentioned, the hybridization ultimately is the ultimate solution. All the three the technology options are to be managed in a manner that at one location we are going to have all the three technological options, because in any case the biomass is going to be collected. So if the biomass is collected, or biomass waste is collected for the biogas generation, the biomass waste can also be collected for the biomass liquid fuel or the biodiesel production. The seeds can also be oil seeds, the non-edible oil seeds can also be collected. Similarly, the solid biomass waste can also be collected from the same area. So therefore, the cost of operations for any company which is having the integrated approach and having all the three technology options at their location, they are going to be in a better place. So therefore, we have to, as I mentioned, you have to earmark. If you are not earmarking, then the SATAT scheme will run into problem. While the biomass is going to be burnt in the power plants, in commercial power plants, the thermal power plants along the road. So therefore, the earmarking of the biomass waste becomes very important. Loose and leafy for the biogas, and hard and woody for the either the second, third generation liquid fuel production or for the solid fuel biomass solid fuel production. This I have already talked in different presentations while going through. So generating gaseous fuel, biogas, bio-CNG fuels, and liquid fuels. So therefore, different ultimately the what I'm trying to address again and again, that a balance is required for having the biomass availability to run it. The other thing is the mandatory provisions. If the mandatory provisions are not there, then the waste generating companies who are having any other production, they will generate the waste and leave it away. So therefore, the mandatory requirement is there, which government, of course, has to act upon. We are pushing through government that you should have the mandatory provision, like the sugar mills, if they are having the waste available, which can generate biogas and bio-CNG, are the STPs where it is possible to generate biogas, they can be bio-STPs then only instead of STPs where they are going to consume a lot of power and they are not being operated by the companies who have installed. So for that, ultimately, we have to have biomass-based resource bank at the decentralized level, because if you are going to have very, very large plants, then the carbon footprint of collection and transportation of the biomass to a centralized unit will not allow it to become economically viable. And therefore, the biomass-based resource banks at a decentralized level, they are to be set up wherever we are in our area, we are going to have this. And to my mind, there could be a policy formulation that the biofuel mining area concept can be introduced. This I have been talking for quite some time now to various government agencies, that just like mining of anything, you can have the biofuel mining in the area, so that if one company who is going to go in that area has been allotted, and they are harnessing all types of biomass, of course, in a sustainable manner, in environmentally benign manner, and not that they are ruining the entire forest and the green cover. Under a certain policy guideline, the biofuel mining area concept is developed, and so that the feedstock availability for the biofuel, bioenergy plant, biogas plants are not there. Abhijit has already mentioned about the policy, national policy on biofuels. It is there. We have now at least all the two things, at least the biogas and the bio-liquid fuel and the biogaseous fuel in it. Solid fuel is still out of this biofuel policy. When the MNRE was having in India the biofuel policy, they were having the liquid fuels. At least now the two fuels are there, liquid and gas, but the solid fuel is still missing from this policy. SATAT, Abhijit has already mentioned, we have a target of 5,000 plants, and they are slow. Reason being the price which they have put for the purchase price for the bio-CNG or the CBG, it is not enough, and therefore the 46 rupees per kg price fixed by the oil marketing companies under SATAT scheme in India. So that is not enough, and if one wants to go for a typical plant, which is in an industrial scenario where the waste in any case is disposed of, it is free. Even the collection and transportation is not required. For example, the sugar industry or the agro-food processing industry, there may be, still it is not very economical, but maybe to some extent it can be considered. But if you are going for the agro-food, agro-waste, bio-CNG or biogas plants, or you are going even for the cattle dung, where the cattle dung is to be collected, then the 46 rupees are enough. And what we have suggested from the Indian Biogas Association side, that we should have at least 60 rupees, Indian rupees per kg, then it will be becoming viable. And we are in touch with the concerned government ministries so that the needful is done. So many other ministries, Abhijit has already talked, who are involved, including the Ministry of Environment and Forest. They have brought out a policy where the municipal solid waste to be segregated. So that policy came in 2016. So that has given a lot of focus to municipalities. Otherwise, they were thinking it's none of their business to take care of the MSW, and if at all, let it be dumped somewhere at the landfill. But now, when the segregation is done, then they are coming up with a suitable policy and making efforts so that the segregated biomass, having the biomass component separated out and put for the biogas, biomethane, or the compost production applications. These programs, it's a glimpses of that only, which is already done. 250 kilowatt power generation, 250 kilowatt power generation by SATAT. It is all from the Ministry of Renewable Energy. And biomass solid fuels, they have the program called biomass gasification. Liquid fuels, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, bioethanol, and the biodiesel production. Now, coming to the policy level, adding to what Abhijit has already talked of, what we feel from the Indian Biogas Association, that the generation-based incentive should be provided by the government. And not only in India, I say that different countries are having different policy. But if it is one point policy decision is taken that the generation-based incentive will be given, then at least the biogas and the bio-CNG sector is going to go. Otherwise, it has not grown, it will be killed. Something else will be done, but not the biogas and bio-CNG. So that is how we feel that 20 rupees per kg is the GBI provided. So 46 from the oil marketing companies and 20, so 66 rupees roughly. If we provide, then we'll be having the boom in business. The other thing which we are saying in India that let us have the biogas fertilizer fund. Once we have, then the different segments of the Indian biogas sector can be now financed. Domestic pool price mechanism. Domestic pool price mechanism we can always have, and domestic pool price mechanism, it is with the Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, where their gas Authority of India Limited, they are purchasing the gas from different organizations, and they can always do it that the purchase of the biogas is done in a manner that it becomes economically viable for the bio-CNG sector. The other thing I mentioned in passing that the blending quota for the bio-CNG in the bio-CNG sector is required. We have approached rather the government to do that, and then the mixing of it in the city gas distribution system. And recently, the Minister for Petrol and Natural Gas has launched a program where the CGD introduction of the the CBG into CGD has already started at one location at least.
Sir?
Similarly, yeah, okay. Am I running out of time?
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Sorry to say
okay,
that,
okay.
but please
It's
wrap.
okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Because, thank you so much. And most of the things I have already talked of. These things I will skip. And Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, our program is very, very important for that. And we have written to government that let them do it. And then creation of the biogas fertilizer fund and the support available in terms of money, that also we have talked to government, and we are working on that. Now, just some of the pictures at the end of my presentation. You can have the installations that we have. It is in Punjab.
Sir, I would request you to please wrap it up.
So, yeah, good.
Another
So
2 minutes.
with this, this is a village power plant for the pipe gas distribution in a village in Punjab. Gas meter in the house.
We do not see your slides.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have taken a little more time, but thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us a detailed overview of the biogas in India. Next, we have Mr. Bijay Kumar. Mr. Kumar is a civil engineer and holds an MBA. Currently, he is working as General Manager, Alternate Energy in Indian Oil Corporation Limited, heading the biogas business of Indian Oil. He has been instrumental in the launch of SATAT scheme from Government of India. He will highlight us with the role of PSUs under SATAT scheme. Sir, we are eagerly waiting to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this a wonderful program. Till now, I have listened all the learned speakers. They have literally explained everything. And I will also try to wrap up the things which has been left. I think that nothing has been left to talk about. But even then, at the cost of repetition, I will like to go through the policies part. What are the policies, the recent policies regarding SATAT? So just I will share my presentation little, if I am allowed. In fact, previous presentation is going on. If
Yes,
it is
Shukla sir, I would request you to please stop your presentation so that Bijay sir can show his presentation.
or I will just go on speaking from my presentation. So as it has been explained that Government of India on 1st of October 2018 has launched SATAT program, and under this ambitious program, 5,000 plants were supposed to be launched. This 5,000 plants by 2024 was supposed to be launched, and just a minute. Yeah. So till now we have till now the progress made so far is we have issued roughly 1948 LOIs, means letter of intent for setting up the plants. We have commissioned 12 plants till now, and we have started retailing of the compressed biogas from 21 retail outlets. So not a bad scheme till now, seeing that since last 1.5 years we are suffering with COVID, and so many restrictions are there, lockdowns and all. So despite of 1.5 years suffering from COVID, since last 2.5 years, this is not a bad start. Okay, now I believe I can share my presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can show your presentation now.
Okay. It is getting loaded. Please wait. I think it's. Okay. So this is 5,000 plants, 15 million metric ton of CBG, 50 million metric ton of biomanure, and this was supposed to be completed by September 2024. So what is the main component of this SATAT program? That price guarantee for initial 5 years, 46 rupees plus taxes, GST. This is the price guarantee, and beyond 2024, for next 5 years, that means March 2029, this price revision will be only upward revision. That means 46 rupees can go to 50 rupees, 52 rupees, 60 rupees, and so on. But it can never go below 46 rupees. So price guarantee of only upward revision. This is the guarantee given by oil and gas companies. And another thing, a commercial agreement with the oil and gas marketing company is for 15 years. Previously it was 10 years, now it has been 15 years. So 15 years commercial agreement, only upward revision. And till now we have issued 1948 LOI, all the oil company, in which Indian Oil is the major issuer, LOI issuer. 1400, roughly 1400 LOI we have issued out of 1900. And if LOI under consideration we take, it is total for all the companies, it is roughly 2500. So half of the target of 5,000 we have achieved, roughly 4.4 million metric ton. and land has been finalized for 235 locations. Financial closure has been completed for 71 plant. Sale has already been started with 21 retail outlet. Injection in CGD network, as Mr. Sukla was telling us, has started at one location. So these are the things happening in SATAT. This is the status of financial closure. Many of the banks has come up, different banks has given. So total cases of financial closure is 230, means 230 plants are at advanced stage of financial closure. Means these plants are coming for sure. Some of the recent development on 5th of June, our Honorable Prime Minister has launched this, interacted with our one of the CBG plant at Gujarat. He interacted with the farmers. So many other like launching in CGD network, it was discussed. How CBG plants is helping, everything was discussed on World Environment Day. A groundbreaking ceremony of many plants has been done recently on 1st of June by Honorable Minister. Dedications, few of the recently commissioned plants has been dedicated to the nation. CGD synchronization has been inaugurated. And SATAT web page, we have started a web page on SATAT. It was also launched on the 1st of the June by the minister. Then coming back to recent developments on SATAT scheme, long-term pricing I have already been said. Inclusion of CBG under priority sector lending by Reserve Bank of India. Last year, Reserve Bank of India has included SATAT scheme under priority sector lending. And under this scheme, many of the banks, SBI particularly, has set aside an outlay of 5,000 crores for financing CBG plants. They have brought out policy also. Bank of Baroda also brought out policy. Like Mr. Abhijit has explained, that fertilizer control order for liquid and solid organic manure has been issued. So last week only this liquid fertilizer has been control order has been issued. Injection is already approved by ministry. Many of the state government like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, they have appointed nodal officer for supply of biomass. So biomass supply chain is one of the problem which is being addressed by the state government, and many of the state government has appointed senior officer as their nodal person to ensure that a stable biomass price is fixed. These are the few things like recently we have signed, all oil and gas company has signed cooperation agreement between themselves, so that suppose HPC, BPC, GAIL, Indian Oil, IGL has signed a cooperation agreement under direction of Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, under which suppose one gas company is not able to sell the CBG, other gas company or oil company will chip in and will able to sell the product from a particular biogas plant. So this is a cooperation agreement, means CBG plant owner will not be dependent on single company. All the company are there available to them for selling of the. This means evacuation of the CBG will be easy. They can inject in the CGD network also. So with all these enablers, I think there is a great input to SATAT scheme. There is a now great chance of success of SATAT scheme, and so many plants are coming. And I will just this is the liquid fertilizer manure control order. 1st June it has been approved. This is the specification of the manure. Then synchronization I already explained. Now I will share with you a few of the photographs. Indian Oil is selling CBG in the brand name of IndiGreen, which is a 100% green auto fuel. Few of the plants which we have commissioned. This is our Indian Oil own plant. at IoT Namakkal, Tamil Nadu. This is the pictorial view of our own plant at Namakkal, Tamil Nadu. This is one of our plant at Rohtak, recently commissioned. Last December it has been commissioned. This is Noble Exchange Pune. This is based on MSW. This is a Spectrum Renewable Kolhapur. This is based on Press Mud. Then Green Glow Green Surat, Green Earth Surendranagar, Bleach Energy Anand, Chloros Sanglis. These are all commissioned plant of Indian Oil under SATAT scheme. This plant particularly, I will like to mention that this plant is under advanced stage of construction. It is the Punjab plant at Verbio plant, which is made by German company Verbio. And after commissioning of this plant has a processing capacity of 330 ton per day, out of which 33 ton per day CBG will be produced. And once this plant is commissioned, this will be one of the Asia's biggest biorefinery. You can see the storage of biomass. This is Parali based, paddy straw based plant. Then recently we have commissioned one India Potash biogas plant. It is based on plug flow digester. It has been designed by our Pune based Compraj Industry is the main technology provider of this company. So many things has happened under SATAT scheme. So really it's time that due to COVID it has slowed down a little bit, but in coming days we can see that so many plants are lined up for commissioning, so many plants are lined up for financial closure. So I don't think that this will slow down. It will increase only in coming days. One baby step today, but a giant step tomorrow. That's all. We see a good future for CBG in India. That's all from Indian Oil. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us a detailed description of SATAT scheme. Now I would like to call upon Mr. Srinivas Kasula. Mr. Kasula, after achieving the merit rank in his post-graduation in environmental studies, is active in working with NGOs as well as private institutions on waste management as well as on biogas plant installations. Following his successful work, he was appointed as the core team member in top biogas companies from India, where he has been responsible for the whole project management as well as execution of construction, installation work and biological commissioning since 2004. Srinivas has been instrumental in designing, installing and commissioning for more than 90 biogas plants across the country. Mr. Srinivas will give us an overview of technology in India. Over to you, Srinivas.
Yeah, thank you, Savita, and thank you, everyone. Good afternoon once again. And to sum it up in 15 minutes is one of the toughest job I feel, but let's see how we cover it. So when we are talking about biogas industry in India, so biogas industry is really taking off in India, as it has happened with solar and wind energy in the last 15-20 years. The Ministry of Renewable Energy, or the MNRE, under which it falls, is very, very bullish about it, and India is becoming a favored destination for investing in renewable energy, particularly biogas. So between, if you see the past 7 to 8 years, maybe from 2013 to 2014 onwards, $64 billion have been invested in this sector, and much of it is from the foreign countries. So to formulate a biogas policy, the government is looking at it from a financial, technical, social engineering angle. And to promote biogas businesses in India, the government is offering a lot of direct and indirect incentives like capex subsidies and tax holidays, which was already covered by Mr. Abhijit Mukherjee. And suppose an entrepreneur sets up an 1 megawatt biogas plant, then he would get approximately around 10 years of tax holidays. So this is what the government is pushing and looking at from a long-term perspective. And based on the size, the biogas plants can be divided into three categories like medium scale, small scale, and industrial level. But we'll not be getting into detail about the technology part or what would be the for small scale, medium scale, and large scale. The total number of small scale and medium scale plants in India are about more than 5 million now. In large scale plants, as it is already covered by Mr. Vijay Kumarji and Shukla Saab, about that more than 300 plants or more than 300 megawatts of installed capacity is being existing. And when you talk about SATAT initiative, yes, National Policy on Biofuels are 2018 emphasizes on promotion of advanced fuels including CBG, compressed biogas. So this was launched in 2018 to promote compressed biogas, CBG to be sold through cascades initially at OMC fuel stations and later can be integrated with the gas grid. So already the work on the gas grid part has been already explained by Vijay Kumarji has been started, and it's we can see soon many changes in this industry. What are the actual aims and objectives of SATAT initiative is, yes, guaranteed production offtake where the public sector OMC is to buy CBG at a fixed price. And this was lacking, before 2018, being in the industry for almost more than 16 plus years till 2018. It was very difficult to sell the gas when we are looking for a project development or installing a particular large scale biogas plant. So this has eased a lot, and, selling gas to the OMCs is one of the greatest achievement in the biogas industry till date. And setting up of CBG plants mainly by the independent entrepreneurs provide an additional revenue source to farmers and reducing the import of natural gas. So these are the main aims of and objectives of the SATAT initiative. So far the potential, if you see, then the potential is almost 62 million tons of CBG, million metric tons of CBG. So the potential of compressed biogas produces from various sources in India, and already the CBG path or the where the biogas industry can be developed based on the potential is already works have been under studies, and it would be in place maybe in another 6 to 7 months. And when we talk about achievement, yes, 15 million metric ton of CBG for 5,000 CBG plants is what the government is looking at. So this is just the 40% of current CNG consumption of 44 million tons per annum in the country. So just imagine the scale we are talking about, and so far has achieved more than 400 CBG plants, out of which 230 have been already financial closures have been done and 20 are under installation. Right now, 9 projects have been supplying the gas to various OMCs, as already explained by Vijay Kumarji, and further it has 20 are under installation, 230 have already closed, and remaining would be closed soon. So technical success factors, what exactly the success factors or on which factors it is dependent. So biogas project is only successful if the biogas plant is working reliably. So when we are talking about reliably, yes, from financially, feasible point of view, the biogas production or the project should generate minimum 6,000 cubic meters of gas, and the upgradation unit should be in the range of 300 cubic meters per day. Okay, it has to run efficiently, high biogas yields, optimized energy utilization, and low parasitic load. When we are talking about low parasitic load, we need to understand that I have seen projects where the projects generate around 12,000 cubic meters of gas and they consume around 7 to 8,000 cubic kilowatt hours. So this should not be the case. When we are designing a biogas project or a plant, we have to look at the parasitic load consumption, which should range between 8 to 20% and not above that. So I have seen plants where more than 30-35% of the generated electricity or generated biogas is being consumed internally, has a parasitic load. So optimizing the reactor load, this is again one of the key factor, at least for calculated lifetime of the project, which should be around 20 years. And typically right now 15 years is what we are calculating, but it has to be around 20 years. Investment in robust and reliable technology, which has been already proven and it's already there, and Germany being the favorite, people just follow and copy the CSTR technology, which has been developed and proved in Germany and now been used in India in almost more than 99% of the plants. And optimized maintenance are the key. So let's this statement, I like it very much, that India is strengthening the link between the renewable energy and agriculture. So India is strengthening the link between the renewable energy and agriculture, and this is essential to create a healthier, and cleaner environment, and to develop a more resilient, efficient, and sustainable farming sector. So this will enable entrepreneurs to diversify their activities by producing biofertilizer and bioenergy. So the recognition which was already mentioned by Shuklaji and Vijay Kumarji, that the recognition of solid and liquid fertilizer from biogas plants under FCO is one of the great initiatives to boost the biogas sector. Moreover, giving the entrepreneurs access to new sources of income, and this has also had a very positive impact on development in the rural areas. Okay, so the use of sequential cropping. So when we are talking about cropping, yes, sequential cropping and livestock manure along with the agricultural waste as feedstock for the biogas plant has many positive effects for the environment and preservation of biodiversity. So we have to look at that, in addition to the positive impact on emission reduction, sequential cropping needs to be done in regime to crop rotation, which helps or protects biodiversity and also preserves soil health. So farmers rely on healthy and fertile land to grow nutritious food. So this is how we can bridge the gap by providing liquid and solid organic manure, and the humus and the carbon contents of the soil are very important indicators in accessing soil health and fertility. Okay, so building humus in soil is possible when the land is covered with plants all the year long. So this has to be ensured that the land has to be covered with plants year long. So that is why we have been recommending that when sequential cropping is applied in combination with use of organic fertilizer, this can be easily achieved. So next would be bio-CNG could substantially contribute to decarbonizing the transport sector of tomorrow. Yes, the technology is advancing year upon year, making the growing number of upgrading units most cost efficient. And unlike electric transport or the mature technology of gaseous transport does not require further investments and innovation in order to deploy it. Okay, so bio-CNG can provide the bridge technology for passenger cars and ultimately solutions for even the heavy vehicles for transport. So however, the further development of bio-CNG industry together with the whole low carbon transport sector depends on new policies and through commitment at the national level. And India's ambitious transport and greenhouse gas emission targets can only be achieved if the right measures are implemented in the coming years. And Indian Biogas Association has a key role in India in discussing the barriers with the other stakeholders and promoting or prompting and acting as a buffer between the industry and the government to remove the burdens or the barriers. So I see that IBA has a very key role in this. And when we are talking about technology, yes, I do remember my conversations or my meetings with one of the expert in the field during 2016-17. He is from UK, and the person I can say that he's the person behind the rice straw to biogas revolution in India, Mr. Gregory Krupinikos, Dr. Gregory Krupinikos, and he is. We are lucky that he's also present in the webinar. And special thanks to him that he is the person who has introduced the DVO or the plug flow technology at a larger scale in India. Earlier we were just following CSTR. Okay, so Indian biogas industry is rising in popularity. Yes, it is rising in popularity, and there are signs that Indian fossil fuel industry may themselves start developing anaerobic digestion technology or anaerobic digestion plant capacity. So this is what we foresee, and India is planning to reduce the crude oil imports by 10% by next year, by 2022, which means that there is an increased emphasis on alternative and sustainable sources of fuel. Okay, and nevertheless, there is a plenty of room for optimization or optimism for large scale projects and development of biogas in India. Existing Indian renewable energy companies show signs of moving biogas production. Okay, stage is all set and the game is about to begin, as has already said by Mr. Gaurav Kedia that digestion or the biogas plants in India are beyond power generation, and bio-CNG is identified as a sustainable or a suitable option for decarbonizing the transport sector. Yet only India is remarkably exploring this avenue and is thus giving credible market perspectives. India highlights how SATAT finance support and recognition in terms of selling organic and solid and liquid manure have removed obstacles to the development of bio-CNG as a vehicle fuel in India. There are best Indian examples which shall soon showcase the importance of guarantees of origin, which should be developed and harmonized at the comprehensive strategy involving a support to bio-CNG production and its utilization in the transport sector. Okay, so I can say only one word to the Norway biogas industry that stage is all set and we have to start from here, and happy digestion. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Srinivas, for briefing us with SATAT and technology in India. Now, I would like to request Dr. Gregory Krupnikovas to share his views. Dr. Gregory has been involved in large-scale renewable energy projects for over 15 years and having secured $100 million in funding was the founding JV partner of companies that owned 82,000 hectares of farms in the Ukraine, harvesting agriculture and energy crops. He was a consultant for the UN Development Program in Ukraine and was a member of the team conducting biogas studies for the UNDP in Serbia. And today he will be discussing about the best international practices adopted by India. Gregory is leading business development in other international markets such as India and Ukraine, specifying broad project scopes and design principles. Sir, we are eagerly waiting to hear from you.
Thank you very much for inviting me here. I'm very happy, although just virtually, to be back in India again, because I love this country and I believe that this country has a very bright and speedy future. My commiserations to the terrible situation of the past year, and I very much hope that that will be improved pretty quickly. In terms of best, I would suggest I will give a couple of views here, and thank you, Srinivas, for saying such nice words about me. In terms of best international practices, I believe that India did a couple of things which are best international practices, and some of them which are beyond best international practices. When I say best international practices, I mean India basically bypassed the power generation stage, which was, if you take Germany, they had 9,000 power generation plants. Now a number of them are switching to biomethane production. India jumped straight into SATAT program, by CBG for transport fuel, and the next stage was biomethane injection into the into the gas distribution grids. India is today practically the only country in the world where biomanure has a market, where biomanure is recognized as a valuable product. We just had recently, basically a couple of days ago, the regulations on liquid biomanure. The only thing lacking, which is moving through the government now, there is market support for composting from municipal solid waste, and there is no market support for solid fraction of biomanure. India has 4 million cars running on gas today, and by Namura's forecast, it will be around 10 million by 2025, which is an immediate and enormous market for CBG. India has all kinds of regulatory support, and a very positive sign, in very recent sign, okay, relatively recent sign given the COVID again, that the major OMCs started investing in and developing their own big, and I mean big, 250 kilowatt, which was mentioned as a big plant. For us is not a big plant, it's a very small plant. I'm meaning the Wakarpur plant by Indian Oil, in which we have the honor to participate with part of our equipment for processing straw. At the same time, there are India has a number of world-class companies with world-class R&D centers developing new technologies, developing new bacteria. Indian Oil R&D Center, again, to be mentioned here. So India has a number of companies developing digesters. India has a number of companies developing and producing upgrading equipment and compressing equipment. So all is there. Mr. Shukla, Dr. Shukla mentioned the price. Yes, the price is a bit too low, but that could be compensated, and this has to be brought still to India. Not just biogas plant, but we already has mentioned biorefineries, which will produce additional high-value products, which will allow the CBG price to stay low. India also, and that will come automatically with Indian market size, newer technologies beyond CSTRs and just wet plug flow, which will be there. For me as an investor and developer of biogas plants, the problems which are in India today, and this was also mentioned already, is security of the feedstock supply and structurization of its price. The Verbia plant was mentioned, is 330 tons of straw a day, which is more than 100,000 tons a year, which will need something like 50,000 or more acres of land on which rice is grown and where straw is collected. And this means that we are talking about thousands of farmers with whom to sign contracts. And farmers are farmers in each and every country. And these number of farmers, the number of contracts will not provide a bankable, secure supply of contracts. If at the moment you go to a bank or the funder, the first thing they will ask you, where is the security of supply? Pressed mud was mentioned as another very low-hanging fruit because it's already collected, they're already in one place. But many cooperative sugar mills have the right to sign contract for 1 year. Just before COVID, we managed to agree with the National Federation of Cooperative Sugar Factories and with several state federations on extending the possibility of the contracts for pressed mud to 10 and 15 years with a structured price, with a moratorium on price for several years and 2 to 3 to 4% increase over the next years. And that could be, my belief is that India could be and should be the world capital of biogas, providing investors and developers with opportunity of high return investment, which besides that will bring in the green economy, which will cut the import of use and import of fossil fuel and improve the balance of payment of the government, which will produce additional income for the farmers, which will lower the expenses for the farmers the moment when Mahindra, for example, will launch its bio-CNG tractors, which will potentially allow replacement of LPG, which is now subsidized by the government to poorest 50 million families in India to the tune of several $1 billion a year with bio-CNG without subsidies. So I'm very optimistic about the future of India and about the future of biogas in India. And as was saying everybody, good digestion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for briefing us about the details. Now we will begin with our question answer round. We have come up with few questions. Shall we begin?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I thought I got stuck somewhere. Okay. So I would like to have Mr. Christian. The first question is like how we in India can approach good Norwegian companies to take their services. Can we have Mr. Cartier for the answer? How we in India can approach good Norwegian companies to take their services? I think he is unable to hear.
Or maybe anyone from Innovation
Okay.
Norway side or Smart Innovation.
Okay,
Norway.
yeah, anyone, yeah.
Dieter is not there.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
I'm just getting a coffee. So the question is how Indian companies can cooperate with Norwegian companies to in the biogas sector. Is that basically the question?
Yes.
Well, I think Smart Innovation Norway is a research and innovation company, and we are about to set up a program for Norway, India, for collaboration on the Indian Biogas Association. And we will send out details on Norwegian companies and, of course, to interested Indian companies. So I think it's very important to cooperate on technology, innovations in the biogas sectors, and but last but not least, also on how the sector, the business models, and the business is organized. I know from Germany the need for crops for the biogas plants had led to that a lot of land is producing mice for I don't know the English name, but or plants for the biogas plants, and they are taking the land from the food industry for the food production, and that's not a good idea. So we have to, the biogas sector has to be sustainable in any ways. So the collaboration platform that we are working on will allow Norwegian companies to access the right opportunities, to facilitate business, and to understand the regulatory ecosystems to make a market entry and scale up business in India. And of course, we have to do that together with Indian companies and Indian actors. So we will set up a business network on biogas for cooperation between Norway and India, together with Innovation Norway and the Indian Biogas Association. So we are eager to cooperate with you. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. The next question is for Mr. Abhijit. The question goes, the margin money for project developers on project debt loan is still high. Government industry should also do something on this for this industry to flourish further. Please suggest how can we do this?
Yeah, hi. So that's an interesting question, actually. So, in fact, means from the association side, we have been in touch with several banks and also with the several project developers who have been borrowing loans. So, so the way to understand this question is from the banker's side, definitely they would like to safeguard the repayment of the loan that they extend to the market, and this CBG sector being sort of new as such, with so many plants coming up of late. In the last 2-3 years, there have been few plants which have come up, but then yeah, still the uptake rate is not that high. So understandably, banks are a little bit more circumspect while extending loan to this particular segment. And while we have spoken to the banks, we have come to know that it's not the case for all the players. Maybe some of the established players who have some record in the other business verticals, they are running the other verticals well. Not looking forward to that high margin of money from them. They can extend almost 70 to 80% of the loan of the total project value to these established players. But when it comes to the entrepreneurs, maybe the banks are a little bit more circumspect with not much of kind of credibility behind these players with respect to running any other business vertical, or maybe with the kind of connects they might have or the networks they might have as compared to the established players. So that's the kind of situation right now prevailing. But then the way around for this would be, as we have found out upon interacting with few of the banks, is maybe there could be some kind of tripartite agreement with the off-takers. Now we heard already from Mr. Kumar, IOCL. So the banks are looking forward to have some kind of tripartite agreement wherein the project developer and the off-taker, the PSUs, all marketing companies and the banks, they enter into some kind of agreement so that the direct revenues that come from this project is kind of the first cut definitely goes for repayment of the loans. So some kind of tripartite agreement will really improve the credibility of these projects even more, and bank will be kind of more keen to extend the loan. And of course, we are on the right path right at this point in time. A little bit of fine tuning of certain things, like Gregory was, in fact, many of the speakers mentioned about averaging the supply chain, structuring it out a bit. So maybe the sacrosanctness of the contract, the feedstock agreements for even longer duration, that will kind of improve the credibility or dilemma, or improve the dilemma of the banks that they are right now into. And this might kind of change the scenario with respect to increasing of or in other words, decreasing of the margin money or even the collaterals that are being asked from few of these developers, the unreasonable collateral, I would say. So these are certain things which may kind of loosen up this or tighten up this loose ends which are right now existing so far as financing of the CBG project is concerned. But yeah, that's the overall thought that I can see.
Thank you so much, Abhijit. The next question is for Dr. Shukla. How does state nodal agencies support on CBG projects? IBA needs to facilitate project developers and state nodal agencies meetings. Dr. Shukla, can you hear me? I think he is unable. So if Gaurav can take up this question. Yeah. Okay.
I will take this question.
Okay.
Dr. Shukla is in his hometown.
Okay.
There might be some internet. Okay. Once again, this is a very good question, in fact. And when we really work on ground, so there are many loose ends which needs to be tightened up. And this coordination with state nodal agency is one of the things which people might think in this manner. But the good thing now is that MNRE has already launched the website where you can apply everything directly. And as far as the facilitation with state nodal agency is concerned, that's not a problem. In fact, for example, right now we are working closely with Karnataka and Punjab, and they are very, very, happy to receive such kind of application. There's a lot of push from the PSUs as such, and a lot of push from the government of India to really make it happen. So if anyone, in fact, gets any bottleneck, will be the first one who can really, extend our hand to really, support in whatsoever manner.
Hello. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, Dr. Shukla, can you hear us?
Yes. As a matter of fact, the CBG projects are supported by Ministry of Renewable Energy financially, and for that the project reports are to be prepared. And if it is also having the recommendation from the state nodal agencies, it becomes easier. However, it can be submitted directly as well to MNRE, but ultimately the state nodal agencies are to be there in the picture, because there are many policy regulations which are concerning the state governments. That is also to be seen, and therefore it is always possible to submit the project to MNRE and get the state nodal agency involved into that. So it is not difficult to do it. Both ways it is possible. Either the report is prepared first, prepared first, submitted to state nodal agencies, and state nodal agencies are in turn submitting to MNRE along with the promoter. Or it can be directly submitted to MNRE, and in turn the state nodal agencies comments and approvals can be obtained in due course. And the subsidies to be, the support amount from MNRE is to be provided only after the project has been completed, not in between. And the amount will be directly going to the financial institution or the bank which has supported the project. That is the situation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gaurav. The next question is for Mr. Vijay. Although sir has already answered, but still if he wants to add something to this question, sir, that what is the current status of bio-CNG plants in India? I'm repeating,
Correct.
sir. What
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the current status of bio-CNG plants in India?
Yeah, current status, 12 plants has already been commissioned. Roughly 12 more are going to commission by end of December. So this is the current situation of ongoing plants and commissioned plant. 21 retail outlet and 2 industrial customer has already been on CBG. We are in talk with Maruti for launch of more CBG vehicles in many more cities. So according to the progress of the plant, these vehicles will be launched in those cities where CBG plants are coming. So we are till now it's a good progress. 70 plants are already financially closed all over India. 230 plants are already identified lands. So I think in coming years, with the enablers coming on by state governments, Government of India, Ministry of Petroleum, Fertilizer Ministry, there is a very bright future for CBG business, CBG plants. And I see that many more plants, at least in 500 numbers or 1,000 numbers, will be there in coming 2-3 years because we have already issued 2,000 LOIs and it is going to be further 2,500 in next month, by next month. So I see a great opportunity. More and more people are showing interest, and more state governments are coming up with their policies for CBG, lining up biomass and all. So many municipalities, at least 100 municipalities I know all over India, they are very keen for tie-ups. They want to produce CBG. They have started segregating organic waste in their cities. So I see a great future for biogas plant in India in coming days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next question is for Srinivas. Srinivas, during your presentation, you mentioned investment. Was it 64 million or billion?
Yes, Savita. The investment which I was talking about was in terms of US dollars billion, which was made in the renewable energy sector. And if you see the new and renewable energy ambitious targets to set up renewable energy capacities in the tune of 227 gigawatt by 2022, this again, attracts an investment of about another additional 80 billion in the next 4 years. Coming back to our compressed biogas plants, yes, 5,000 CBG plants have to be installed in by 2023, which itself is, even if we consider around 20 crore per project, would be in the tune of almost 1 lakh crore. Okay. Yeah,
Thank you,
sir.
Srinivas. Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Srinivas. So with this, we come to an end with our question answer session. And now I would like to request Mr. Dieter Hiddes, Head of Research and Innovation, Norway, to give the vote of thanks. Dieter Hiddes is an ICT specialist with 25 years of experience in project management and system development of ICT systems for the energy sector. He is a co-founder of Smart Innovation Norway and of the NCE Smart Energy Markets Cluster, and served as NCE project manager in its first years. From 2003 to 2011, he was CEO of Smart Innovation Norway, now serving as the head of research and innovation of the company. And Hiddes is the coordinator of the Horizon 2020 projects and a member of the advisory group of energy for the European Commission. Sir?
Thank you very much. I think this webinar today has been very interesting. I think that definitely the biogas energy part is part of the solution of the energy challenges and the climate challenges that we have in over the whole world. So we will be very happy to cooperate with Indian companies and to do what we can to put Indian companies and Norwegian companies together to find common solutions, both technically but also business-wise. And of course, everything has to be on a sustainable basis. So that's quite important. So we'll be very happy to cooperate also with Innovation Norway and the Indian Biogas Association on further cooperation and the business networks that we are working on for Norwegian companies who are reaching out to the Indian market. We do this together with Innovation Norway. So we'll be happy to cooperate with several of you if who are interested to look at the cooperation with Norwegian partners, technology partners. Okay. So thank you very much for the webinar today, and hope we will continue our cooperation later.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So with this, we come to the end of this event. Many thanks to the speakers and the participants of this webinar. We have now come to the end of this webinar and wish you all a pleasant and safe day ahead. Remember to maintain distance socially and connect emotionally. Signing off for now, we wish you all thanks and bye on behalf of Smart Innovation Norway, and Indian Biogas Association. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.